Morning.
Morning. How you doing, Jim?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for making the time this morning.
Yeah. Always interesting to see what folks are talking about.
Yeah. Was that a Boston Celtics shirt I see on there?
Yeah, it is. I grew up in Rhode Island, so even though haven't lived there for years, I watch all the Boston teams. So,
Oh yeah, they're looking pretty good this year.
yeah, I was back, I don't know, when they played the Cavaliers and dumped the game in the fourth quarter here about 3 weeks ago. I was back there, but
Most people think manufacturing's dirty, boring, or dying. They're dead wrong. This is Manufacturing Runs the World. We're here to fix the misconceptions, teaching the next generation how modern manufacturing really works and why it matters more than ever.
Well, yeah. Thanks for jumping on again. I think, I was looking at your LinkedIn and JenFab, and I thought it was just kind of a really interesting story to tell within the whole manufacturing industry. I mean, before we kind of dive into it, you want to give me a little bit of background about yourself and how you ended up at JenFab?
So I'm a West Point grad, former Army officer, left the Ranger Battalion in 1990 and went into the world of business with a company called Nalco Water. At the time, it's now part of Ecolab. I spent 28 years there doing engineering, sales, marketing, general management, whatever.
Yeah.
Left there after running the Eastern Hemisphere out of Dubai back, I don't know now, that was 7, 8 years ago. And then went into the whole private equity circuit, right?
Right.
Ran a custom air filter company that was part of the filtration group over in the St. Louis area called Universal Air Filter. We made filters for all your high-tech stuff. So you think of a Cisco server, HP, etc. And then any central plant for T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, they all have our filters.
Right.
Back when COVID hit, the automotive industry tanked, right? Everything connected to it. The filtration group had about half of their portfolio, so about $1 billion company. Half of it connected to automotive. So they went into this, what I like to call a rational fear mode. I was running a company that we had gotten it to where EBITDA was 26% of sales.
Yeah.
Right? We were printing money, small company in terms of revenue within the portfolio, the second biggest on OI.
Yeah.
And they went into this peanut butter spread thing of cut heads, do this, because they were trying to, I get it, balance things, but I guess I'm a very values-centered guy.
Right.
And believe in people being at the center of everything. The old adage of you grow people, people grow companies, not people growing companies, just period kind of thing. When they started mucking about with 401k matches for, guys that were 45 years old on the shop floor, trying to catch up, it was chump change to the corporation, but a huge deal, right, for those guys. I grew up in a blue-collar home.
Same.
My dad worked 3 jobs, electric company, loading dock at Sears, National Guard on the weekend. So, right, I know what it's like, and I try not to forget that, right? So I was pissed off, I'll put it that way, right? There was one of these things of fire X amount of people just because. Obviously, I didn't need to for our own company, but I also believe they had us do that between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Ugh.
And I have, in 40 some odd years of being in business, it's just a pet peeve of mine. I don't do it then. Right? I don't want families to remember, oh yeah, Christmas is when Dad got fired. And I was angry about it and got pinged by a different private equity firm that had a lot of character. I basically Did a Zoom interview for several, obviously, for a CEO role. One in-person meeting in an airport, and then I stepped into this thing. And the typical thing, things are positioned always a certain way. I know better, right? Whenever you walk in, it's a hot drop zone, so to say. So they had some issues financially, right? It was positioned well-intentioned people that needed leadership. It was old-fashioned manufacturing. The old beatings will continue until you submit.
Yeah.
Points systems, kind of, I'm sure you've heard all of that.
Yeah.
The break buzzers, to take a break. Voicemail call-off boxes when no one at the other end. HR was go send someone to HR to get written up kind of thing. A lot of yelling and screaming. Not the way to run things. And we're fairly unique in that we are a second chance culture. So 99% of my shop are formerly incarcerated felons and or addicts recovering. You're always an addict, guys, recovering.
Right.
And you can't go at it the same way. I actually have a certificate in neuro leadership, studying the brain and how it works, and all the things you hear about, right, with your brain on drugs and all this good stuff.
Yeah.
Being a vet, right, special ops side, you see a lot of TBIs, and I have fallen on my head more than one occasion. And you've got to approach it differently. Today, you don't hear yelling and screaming. We don't have point systems. It's very simple, right? You get the old mentality of I've got your back. Safety, when I took the company over 5 years ago, TRIR was 12, right, which is horrific.
Yeah.
About a month after I got here, we had a kid grab 2 hot ends of a 480 and, we did CPR on the floor, kept him alive. The kid continued to work, but then you unwind that, right? And even though the company was doing poorly, we made tons of investments, and it's world-class in terms of how we handle electricity around here. The last 3 years, we've run a TRIR of 1 or under, right? So from 12 to that, and that wasn't through threatening people, and it's all about, again, how do you get people to engage?
Yeah.
Lots and lots of work that went into that. And everything followed that, right? People begin to believe that you care about them. And that's just all it is. It's simple. And then you teach them systems that they can recall easily, and you reward them and you do different things. You get into fairness, right? Well, a company that was running a P&L of, negative 1.6 million generally would not do salary increases. Well, the metrics were as you do X in your skill set, right? Because I've got fabricators, electricians, as they're getting better, they're supposed to get paid more. Well, they had never done it. First 90 days, we had a pay increase, based on the assessments, and we kept going. And at some point, it takes care of itself.
Yeah.
The yacht has turned. We basically had a $3 million change in the bottom line for the better, obviously. And the fundamentals are there. There's all kinds of things that we had to do with 80-20 to get rid of product segments that they were losing money on that they didn't realize.
Yeah.
Went from making 240 some odd machines a year to 70. Went from losing money to making money. And it was all about establishing brand.
Uh-huh.
And part of that culture, I mentioned I get rid of points. It's simple. You meet your commitments to the team, period.
Yeah.
If you don't, I don't need point systems to fire you.
Right.
If you're an asshole, I'll fire you. Right.
Yeah.
If you're bringing team members down, I will walk you right out the door personally. And the Springfield area, and I don't know if you're familiar with Springfield, Missouri, it is the stainless steel fabrication capital in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
That's 30% of the jobs are fabrication. So you're competing for skilled labor. We were having turnover of like 40% a month.
Wow.
Right? And that's because of the environment, and people will move for $1. Now we decide who works here, period. I think I've had one voluntary resignation in 2 years. So it's just simple leadership stuff and empowering people.
Can't be that simple, right? I don't think many people can step into a role like you did and turn an old manufacturing process around and then have the entire environment and company doing better. So
yeah, I mean, maybe I will make the complex simple, but there's a lot of high touch stuff with people.
Yeah.
You think of leadership on the shop floor. No one had ever been taught. And I see that in a lot of the 2 small companies I run. You get founder-led businesses. They mean well. They know a lot technically, right? They're subject matter experts. They don't know the sales side. They don't know the marketing side. And they either do or don't have leadership competencies. And then you get into how do they teach people and what's the model that people are seeing, right? If they are yelling and screaming, well, that's what everyone else is going to do. If there's no individual development plans for people, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So we had to start teaching folks. We do some called Wednesday workouts with Jim. That's not lifting weights in the backyard. That's leadership training with me.
Yeah.
Every single Wednesday, 1 hour, not more than 1 hour, because they don't retain it.
Right.
The series, and I change it up, right? We'll do stuff on empathy and literally had shop guys role playing with each other on how to react in different situations so that they have that model to recall on.
Yeah.
Particularly when you get guys that, have burned out part of their prefrontal cortex doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Facts of life. And they start to see that you care about them. We pay them well, the benefits. We've upgraded completely. So, right, we turned it, but at the same time, we're spending more money, but we're stripping out inefficiencies, and we've taught them now lean and a lot of the continuous, it all takes care of itself.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that we have PE owners that they get it, right? They're nice. Right? Where I worked with some, it's all about drive the money, right? And not anything about the people.
Well, thanks for your time, Jim. I want to be mindful of your time.
So I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh no, this has been great. So I think I'm going to school on some of your educational and leadership techniques. So very cool stuff you're doing.
I'm all good with that.
Cool. Well, I'll be in touch. I'll shoot you a follow-up email after this and send out more details.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
All right, man. We'll see you.
See ya.
All right, bye.